I'm still in love with
In terms of you setting up the Vibe for Philo, what inspired you to do that, and do you have any like nice memories from it that stand out?
From the Vibe?
Yeah.
Philip asked me, he said, his exact words were, do a Vibe for me sometime.
Hi, my name is Tony Powell. I'm from Ohio in the United States.
And why are you here?
I'm here for the Vibe for Philo, and I also come over to Dublin periodically when I do some traveling as well, but the Vibe has always been sort of the main reason.
And what does the music of Thin Lizzy mean to you?
Well, I just got turned on to it. My uncle turned me on to Thin Lizzy when I was about 12 years old, and there was just something about how what I really thought Lizzy was different was the lyrics, because Philip's very poetic.
Yeah.
And it was like rock and roll, but almost like a poet kind of doing rock and roll. And I just thought they sounded different than everybody else. And I was always a big fan of the twin lead guitar thing. I thought that was really neat. That really inspired me to kind of do that in some of my music that I play.
Yes, so my name's Dawn McCarrick and I'm from Birmingham in the UK.
I'm Lucy Williams and I'm from Bristol in the UK.
Okay, and why are you here first of all?
Because
we're here for the Vibe.
Yeah, we wouldn't be anywhere else in the world. This is something that we do every year
without fail.
So I've been coming since 1996, so the 10th anniversary Vibe. And it's like a whole big family, big community. And we just love spending time together. We come to commemorate Philip and remember him. We go out to the grave, and we just get together and party and laugh, and yeah, it's just amazing.
Good music, good beer, good people.
Company.
Okay.
What else would you want to be doing?
And why does the music of Thin Lizzy speak so much to you?
Wow, well that's a question.
Philip was one of the most amazing lyricists and poets that's ever been around. He had everything. He had charisma, he had charm, he had cool. His lyrics, I think, speak to so many people on so many different levels.
Across the generations as well.
Okay.
It's relevant. His stuff is as relevant today as it was then. And it'll be relevant in 10 years.
It never outdates, not for us, and it's what's brought us all together and keeps bringing us together, not just for the Vibe, but also plenty of other events outside of that as well. So I was, many years ago now, the UK trustee for the Rose and Dove Trust, which was set up by Philomena Lynott, his mum, to commemorate him, preserve his legacy. And one of her main aims was to raise enough money to erect a statue of Philip in Dublin. And so I was part of the trust helping to raise money. So lots of supporters all over the world started organising gigs to raise money for it. And in August 2005, we finally unveiled the 1-ton statue of Philip in Dublin. And it's been a mecca for so many, even just your general tourist who's not necessarily a Lizzy fan. It's one of the most popular statues in Dublin now, and just a real privilege to be part of that and say that all of us helped to kind of make that into a reality.
Miles Lally is my name. An original Viber. Been there from the very, very start, and have loved every single minute of it. I've actually ensured that across the Christmas period, no matter where I was, when my kids were small and stuff, always made it back for the vibe. I absolutely love it. It's been probably more about family and the family that are here for the weekend, as usual, than the bands. We've seen every single band that has paid tribute. They say second to ABBA was a Lizzy tribute in every country in the world, and we have seen every version of them here over the last 35 years.
Wow.
But it's certainly more, I believe, about the family and the people that were I mean, since I've got here in the last hour, I've probably hugged about 25 people, and there's more to come.
It's amazing how close
it's incredible. And I have to say, apart from Philip's music and his legacy of the words and the music, which even only recently with the orchestra was played, orchestrated. It's the legacy he's left behind of the connections he's made and the people we have. My own other half is from Cork, and she was under my nose at the Vibe for years. I never knew about her.
Really?
Pals, yeah. Now I could name you a million couples here now that all met at Vibes and have all Kathleen's and Sarah's and Philomena's, and it's just he's an awful lot to answer for. You know.
And what does the music? Why does it speak to you so much?
Philip was a poet. His lyrics are incredibly insightful. The music's amazing. I mean, without the lyrics, the music's brilliant. But the combination of both made him just the greatest. And the greatest for me. I'm a huge Horselips fan. A lot of other bands I'm a big fans of. But Philip tops them all. There's nobody can stand above or beside him. And that's why they're still listening to him today. You know, that's why the orchestration was only done last year.
Yeah.
That's why I think as music goes on, he will continue to rise to the surface. He'll be there with Bowie, and he'll be there with Prince, and he'll be there with Freddie and all the others, because his lyrics and his playing are outstanding. And I always say to people, they all know him, oh, you're a Lizzy fan and Philip and whatever, and the Vibe and all the stuff. I say, get past The Boys Are Back in Town. Get past Jailbreak and get past the obvious Old Town or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the greatest seam to mine. And the more you mine it, the better it gets. It's astonishing. It's such a depth of work, it's incredible.
My name is Jerry Jago. I was, in the early days, I would have been a roadie, a very quiet roadie with Tin Lizzy in the very early days. Phil was a friend of mine, and he was, I suppose, my idol, my boss at one stage, and my friend. And so the Vibe would mean an awful lot to me, in the sense that I was at the first one, and you know, and I've been to most of them. Some of them I didn't go to, but my children started giving one another a gift of a Vibe ticket for Christmas. So they sort of took over the mantle there for a while with me, and I think I gave them the music of Tin Lizzy, and especially Phil, you know, because.
What was your time like as a roadie there?
It was great. It was great. Like, and I mean, I could tell stories about Phil, and they're all nice stories.
Yeah.
They're not because if at the end of the gig Phil would be there and he'd be talking to the people, and 90% of the guys he'd be talking to would be fellas, you know, because he was a babe magnet, really. He had all the charisma that you need, and that was never a problem. But he took the time to talk to the fans. He really did, and he had that sort of certain sort of thing about him that he nurtured young musicians. He really did, like, you know. And I suppose I'd seen some lovely stuff that he did, like, you know. I remember we were down in Tottenham the Moyles, we were down at Skerries, and the relief band, they would have been, came along, and he had a hand cart.
Okay.
And he had a kit of drums, a couple of guitars in it, and we were kind of not making fun of them in a sense. Myself and the other roadie, a guy called Tony Keane, he's from Limerick, and Phil came along, and Phil sort of said he made us carry the stuff up the stairs. He made us go down and get the rest of them in the van, and he brought them. While we were doing that, he brought them down to the local chipper and fed them.
Wow.
And then when the gig was over, he made us bring all the gear back before we even put announcing the other stuff in. We brought all their gear home for them.
That's lovely.
And them for them. And so that's my memories of Phil. It was just
real magic man.
There was a nature in them. Like there really was a nature in them.
Why do you think the vibe brings so many people together?
You have the music is one, but it's also the man. You know, and as I said, if you listen to the stories, it's the stories of meeting other people. You go out to the grave today now, and I mean, there's people from all over the world standing there, and the one thing is, and it's not Tin Lizzy, it's Phil as well. You know, I mean, we're celebrating Phil, innit? We're not.
What does the music of Tin Lizzy mean to you?
Oh, I mean, it was my life at one stage. It was I was brought up on. I loved the early stuff. Yeah. I loved Brian, Eric, and Phil. That's the early stuff. Like for me was the main band as far as I was concerned. So it's got heart, it's got everything in it. Yeah, the lyrics is, and Phil could take a lyric and make it sound absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
And only like if you listen to some of the stuff he does, he puts an extra word in a line, like, where only he can do it. As I said, I've been around him when he was Phil, when he was only young, before he even went anywhere.
The Black Eagles kind of Skid Row.
Yeah, the local. Yeah. I mean, the first time I met him was during the Black Eagles stuff. Okay. I suppose it annoys me to listen to the negative stuff about him, because if you look at his body of work, it's just.
My name is Phil Osborne. I come from Scotland.
And why are you here?
Phil Lynott.
Okay.
Firstly. Secondly, I am sitting with my elder brother who lives in Luxembourg, my sister-in-law who lives in Belfast. So, as well as them, there's all the friends that I've made over the years, and it's the vibe is as important for meeting friends that you've known for years. And some of us, I think, would consider our Vibe friends to be the most solid friends that we have. They were on top of the pops doing The Boys Are Back in Town, and I was feckin' blown away. Blown away. Changed my life forever, for the better.
Hello, I'm Damien Maguire. I'm from Dundalk, County Louth.
And why are you here?
I'm here because, this is my 25th Vibe.
25th?
Yes.
Wow.
I've been coming since 1998, I think it was maybe the first one that I've been to. It was something I wasn't aware that was on until the 10th Vibe. I heard it on the Dave Fanning show on 2FM one night. I said, my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And a local band from where I live, Thin As Lizzy, were playing it, and I said, well, I'll go down and watch it. And I've been hooked ever since. It's just an amazing event. It's hard to actually describe how good it is. It's just wonderful.
Why does the music of Tin Lizzy speak so much to you?
Well, I think my first memory of Tin Lizzy was when I was about 4 years of age, or 5 years of age. My father took home the Chinatown tape, and he played the song for me, Chinatown. He said, listen to this, you'll love it. And I just was absolutely hooked from that day forward, and it moulded my whole music style, because I was only 4 or 5 at the time, and very young, but ever since that I was just hooked on guitars and wonderful drumming and all this sort of stuff. But Phil Lynott's music was just, there was no bad songs, it was all good, and there was so many different songs. There could be ballads and almost spoken word pieces to really heavy rockers and everything in between, and I've been hooked ever since.
This is the last Vibe, like everybody's saying how close they are together, like as friends meeting each other. How do you feel about it being the last one? Or?
Well, it breaks my heart to think it's the last one, although I'm confident that something will continue from this. It's too big of a thing to stop. Smiley Bolger he is the vibe as far as I'm concerned, and if as long as he's around, it should be a vibe. When he's not, we need to do something in his honour as well as Phil Lynott's honour, because it's just, he's an amazing person. This thing is just like when I walked in maybe half an hour ago, got the train up, walked in half an hour ago, straight in the door, and met people that I haven't seen in maybe 3 years now, thanks to COVID. You're hugging and people from Scotland and America that you see every year, and the friends you meet, it's just it's a bond for life. It's an absolute bond for life.
My name is Colin Wadick. I live in Arklow in County Wicklow. And how did I develop a love for Tin Lizzy? I went to trade school back in the early 90s, and I borrowed a tape from a cousin of mine. It was the Chinatown album.
Okay.
I started going to the vibes. My first vibe was in 1995. So.
Now, for people who don't know what the vibe is, what is the vibe?
The vibe is the annual tribute to Phil Lynott. It's organised by a friend of Phil Lynott, a promoter, DJ, by the name of Smiley Bolger. And it's been going early, about since 1988. But mine first was 1995 at the Ringside Club, which is a boxing club in Dublin. So I was the first one in the queue. Bit naive, but there you go. And I met two people there. I met Nudge and Elaine Townsend, and we're 25 years friends now because of that. So.
I knew Philomena. I used to go into Trinity College, meet you off school, because, you know, it closed early, and I buy postcards of the Book of Doro and the Book of Kells, and I copied them, and I had Jim Fitzpatrick's book, and she told me her son played in a band, and I said, well, what band is that? And she said, I'll bet you'll meet him. So anyway, me and Philip became really good friends, and we used to go everywhere together. And one day we were walking down Grafton Street, you know, and I said, Philomena was coming up the road, and I hadn't seen her in ages. I said, Philip, I have to talk to this woman. You come over with me. He said, do we have to? I said, yeah. He said, all right. And I was about to introduce her to Philip. She said, hello, Philip. He said, hi, Ma. And I said, oh, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? And, you know, and we're walking down, you know, and I think, see a film, and he said, you remember what I told you? You look after Marcus, he's very dear to me.
Right.
And we're walking down Grafton Street, because we walked everywhere together, up the Rat Mines and everywhere, you know. And, you even know my ma?
That's brilliant.
Of course, my sister knew Phil really well, and basically he used to come to Bray to visit her.
My name is Hugo McGuinness. Back in the 1980s, I was doing PR for bands and venues and things like that. Right, I was in coffee shop in South Great Georgia Street with Stano, having a cup of coffee, and then the next thing was suddenly Smiley Bolger came in, we kind of waved to say hello, came over, sat down, and he turns around to me and says, I'm doing the Vibe for well, it wasn't called the Vibe For Philo back then, it was called, I'm doing Remembering. I'm doing Remembering. And 12 months later, I was kind of up to here in the Vibe For Philo.
You got it deep fast, yeah.
That's how things happened, and I've been involved ever since. It's kind of funny, an awful lot of ground was broken by the Vibe, and a lot of it happened actually accidental.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the title, The Vibe For Philo. The way that came about was, see, back in the 70s, they used to do events, right? Which was a little mix of everything, right? You'd have these kind of liquid light shows, and you'd have poetry, you'd have drama, you'd have music, and you know, you'd places like the Abbey would stage these in the Peacock Theatre at lunchtime to try and create a new audience, right? And as somebody said to me, everyone used to go along and just drop acid in the Abbey, right? But but Phil was very taken by these because whereas the rest of the band were kind of just off their head. To him, he was on the heavy stage. But they used to call these things vibes.
Right. Okay.
So anyhow, I'm talking to this. I'm doing the publicity on the fourth vibe.
Okay.
And I'm talking to a journalist called Roderick O'Connor, who wrote for the Evening Press. But I've been trying to explain to him that he's going, so you're doing this gig. No, Roderick, we're not doing the gig, we're doing a vibe.
Okay.
And he's going, what's a vibe? Is it a vibe gig? It doesn't matter. I said, no, Roderick, a vibe can be a gig, but a gig is not a vibe.
It's actually,
right? It's more than that. Right. And we're going to have the audio visuals and all sorts of stuff going on. But anyhow, to cut a long story short, right? Myself and Smiley are having a cup of coffee on the Thursday that Roderick's column came out, and somebody had the Evening Press, and we said, can we have a look? And we get the Evening Press. We just opened it, and it's like, oh my God! They are in huge headlines. Is a vibe for Phil.
Right. Okay.
And that's where the title comes from. Is Roderick O'Connor.
Okay.
So it's kind of, again, the vibe was the very first show ever to use back projection, live back projection of a gig. And the way that came about was the fifth vibe was in the Olympia Theatre. They used to have a thing called Midnight at the Olympia.
Okay.
And basically they would put bands on, but the stage setup, whatever play was on, was the backdrop, right? But when we went in, it looked shit.
Okay.
And you can't have a show going on with this. Frank Quigley, who has done the back line.
Jerry Quigley's brother. Yeah.
Frank Quigley has done the back line on the vibe since he actually gave he was running the Comicals. Where the very first vibe was the second vibe was staged, the first Dublin vibe.
Okay.
And he's been involved since then. Fran says, well, John, the easiest way to deal with this, and we're going, he says, we put up a load of screens in front of all of this.
Okay.
And he says, I'm doing audio visual stuff now. I've moved into audio visuals. So do you know what? We put up screens, we bring in a couple of cameras, we film the bands, and we back project.
Wow.
And that's how it was an accident. It was just purely, But that's one of the beauties is there was a lot of kind of groundbreaking stuff got done, largely through accidents like that.
Yeah.
I have always said, and Smiley was much the same, is take a song and take them on a whole new journey.
Yeah.
And they would be, a lot of the musical highlights for me would be things like that. Somebody who took a song that you maybe probably didn't think a lot of.
Yeah.
And just left you going, where on earth did that come from?
Well, like Brie Harris's King's Call, is unbelievable.
That's just... and just talking about it, the hair stands on the back of my neck.
It was a rainy night. The night the bar below went down. Everybody was crying to see a black sadness had surrounded Dublin town. I went to the liquor store. Nothing at all. But even in the darkest of night, you can always hear the king call. You can always hear the king call.
The context for a lot of that is you got to understand just how bleak the place was. But the one thing that everybody had was, you'd turn on Top of the Pops. And Top of the Pops was the benchmark for everything. Like, that was the ultimate. And Thin Lizzy would be on Top of the Pops, but they'd be cool. Thin Lizzy would be on doing something really, really cool, and they were sort of, and suddenly that was gone. You were never like, for some reason, the death of Philip, it all, for a lot of people, it was like life's over. Because that one spark that said there's a way out of here, was suddenly gone. And there was a real wave of depression. I got a lovely letter. At one stage I asked people online, like, for why they came to their memories of the vibe, stuff like that. I got a lovely letter from a guy in Australia. He told me, like, he was sharing a flat with a friend of his, and the vibe was on a Wednesday, and double day was Thursday, right? And they were faced with a situation of, did they buy cigarettes and a packet of wine, and a bottle of wine on Wednesday, or did they go to the Vibe in McGuinness? And they decided, no, we have to go to the Vibe in McGuinness, because the Vibe it just has more. And it was because of that sense of hope had become hopelessness, because they were on the dole. They couldn't see any future of the job. They couldn't see any future in Ireland. The decision was taken that the last vibe would be the 36th.
Okay.
Because it made sense. Philip was 36 when he died. So we thought, well, there's a natural end point there. What's happened in the years since then has really only reinforced the fact that now is the time to just wind it all down. So many of the people who were involved and were significant to the Vibe, people like Frank Murray, Philomena Lynott, the declining health of Smiley, and so many people like that are kind of gone. That it's not a vibe anymore. It's veering towards something else. So it's kind of maybe up to somebody else to do something. It's time to hand over the baton.
It was a rainy night. The night the bar below went down. Everybody was crying. The sea of black sadness had surrounded Dublin town.